Hello and welcome to a birthday special. 49 years ago today, at about 5 to 12, someone was born 3 weeks early, the only time he's been early in his entire life. And of course, because of greed, he's fallen over a lot of water. So if his dad had fallen asleep that first night, he probably wouldn't have made this video. To celebrate the misery, I am going to showcase a game I promised myself I wouldn't touch with a flaming barge pole, but decided that to do something special for this particular day, getting one entire day older than yesterday, I was thinking, why not do it anyway? I'm talking about a game I consider to be the single worst Amiga game ever, which, from a technical point of view, isn't necessarily true, but because of its namesake, because of the game everyone knows as a legend, as a revolutionary game. You could argue, and some people would argue, that the gameplay in the original is not necessarily the most advanced, but I think everyone can agree that it is still, for the Commodore 64, a bit of a milestone game. Just like its predecessor, some people like the first one, some people like the second one. I like both. I'm not that hard to please. The Amiga version is incredibly poorly made, and I will do a running commentary as we go through the levels. But one thing I will say is that the music, much to my surprise, is not horrible. It is just very different. It sounds a bit wrong because you're used to the original tunes. The game allows music and sound effects, or sound effects, I should say, and I have played the game with the sound effects and have recorded the music and added it after. You need to hear these sound effects because they are so hilariously misplaced. Anyway, on with the show. I hope you'll enjoy this little interesting thing. Let the fun commence. Much like the original, we start near the drum set, and of course we have to kick a lever thing in order to, or punch it in order to open a trapdoor. But we have this guy that stands in the way, and we have to deal with him first. If he's capable of making a decision. As you can quite clearly hear, we are using our thunder punches and thunder kicks. This is why I had to keep the sound effects in, they are so hilariously hilarious. Anyway, it's time to punch the thing, right, to get the game to respond, which is difficult at times. I just showcased that very thing there. But down to the trapdoor even, and pick up the key. It of course is not blinking because we haven't got the item that causes stuff to blink when you can pick it up. So if we can work our way through the door, I usually head left first to get the staff, because of course having a weapon is better than punching and kicking, or punching, kicking and screaming, as is the case of this game. Past the juggler, who is juggling something I cannot easily see, but it must be something very small according to what he's showing at us. This pile of rubbish is actually the map that causes items to blink, and time to crawl up. Nah, actually, you know what? Can't be bothered. Interesting. The correct angle, at least it didn't fall to our death, that's what I expected. But time to do some physically discomfortable or discomforting somersaults, I think they're called. It looks like he's causing an injury to himself whenever he's doing somersaults, but we gotta start now and then try to work our way back down, and it's quite clear that he's actually falling, and then the game says, oh, near something he can crawl, so let him crawl. So past our juggler friend again, and then of course we got a bunch of shurikens, or for some bizarre reason the manual seems to spell this very awkwardly, shiraken or something. Irrelevant. We have these things, and as you can see, our ninja friend, or pajamas friend I would rather call him, because he looks like he's running around in the pajamas instead, knows that picking up something while you're holding a staff is very dangerous for your eyes, so of course we put his weapons away before he picks anything up. Lovely. That's not going to be an issue, no, not at all. When you badly need the toilet and there's no one around, of course you sneak into the female toilet because you are, yeah. Well, we just need the toilet string. Of course we need 2 of them so we can tie them together into a makeshift nunchaku, which of course is fairly realistic, but it was part of the original game, so let's roll with it. Of course female visitors to the park toilets can no longer flush, but yeah, well, they'll live. Time to pick up a burger, which of course is an extra knife, and they may become useful later on. So, time to fight another guy who doesn't really know if he wants to fight us or not. The fighting in this game is very special. When you start doing a fight animation thing, you can at times move while the animation is going, and as long as the enemies are anywhere near the weapon that swings like it was made out of rubber, you will hit them. But of course that also applies to them, so they can be flicking their weapon around and smack you, even though you think that you are away from the weapon because of the incredibly accurate weapon swinging physics that's introduced in this game. Once we got our nunchucks, or toilet strings, whatever you call them, toilet string handle thing, whatever, flush handles, and it's time to use the key to open the gate. We don't want that police officer. Of course, it's not a proper police officer, it's the bad guy's henchman disguised as police officers. We want him to go away so we can actually open the gate. He's trying very hard to kick us, and I don't blame him. I would kick myself if I was in this game as well. So, time to do a bit of rowboat jumping, because of course, being a special pajamas guy. Oh, well, sort of stuck here. The boat is not coming back, so we can't jump back over, and we can't get anywhere but into the drink. So, we'll prove that pajamas guy cannot swim. Never. We will try the somersaulting onto the rowboat yet again, and this time we are a bit more careful about when we try to jump off. Ooh, it's the bees! A bunch of killer bees apparently decided that the pajamas guy is very tempting to sting. But they are easily outrun. You outrun them easily, I think it's, I don't know, words difficult. And of course, in time to flick your stick at the boat to release it from whatever it's trapped on, and then jump back past the bees again. Yeah, sorry. This video cannot be serious because the game I'm playing is not very serious either. So, another jump onto rowboat Mark II, and off we go, finally done with the first level. Moving on to the street, which is in Last Ninja 2, the Commodore 64 version. It contains an awful lot of epic music, but I think that is my single favorite track, and this version sounds a bit odd. Anyway, I'm testing out the nunchucks because, of course, in the Commodore 64 version, they are very, very fast, so you can usually smack down enemies extremely quickly. But we are talking the superior 16-bit version of this game, where nunchucks is about as useful as, not being very useful. Remember I was saying that if a ninja guy picks something up, sorry, pajamas guy, because he doesn't look like a ninja. If he picks something up, he puts his weapon away. Because of the sensitivity of the controls when you're trying to do fighting moves, you end up picking stuff up, or try to pick stuff up the ground. Of course, meaning that you put your weapon away in the middle of a fight, which is about as intelligent as, as not being very intelligent. And it happens far more than you would like, and it is an extremely excruciating mechanic. By the way, I'm going the scenic route. I know I'm technically going the long way around, but I just wanted to make sure this game lasted a bit longer, because it's not long enough as it is. That burger stand apparently doesn't have a burger, but I didn't realize, so I was spending a bit of time trying to pick up something, and I was wondering whether that thing that's next to the water hose could be picked up, or water thing could be picked up, but it couldn't. Our boozing guy that's got a bottle of booze we need to pick up, he's not asleep in this version, he's wide awake, but he's quite happy about seeing a guy in pajamas make his booze. He's probably trying to quit drinking, so we're doing him a favor. It is a public service. We are helping those in need. Of course, we're not going to drink the booze. No. We got a special purpose for the booze. There's another burger stand, but no burgers. It's a very, very interesting concept of having burger stands with no burgers. But we, of course, we need to get a great key in the shed up ahead, and this guy is running back and forth, trying to, I don't know, do leg exercises or something. One thing this is to be said about the fighting is the fact that the enemies can move into positions where they can punch and kick and stab you, but you can't punch and kick and stab back, which is always lovely. But we got the great key. Not a great key, but a great key, which is very grating. And we died. And it takes about 10 seconds for the game to be registered to the fact you've been knocked out. And the enemies will still happily flail away while you're down to body. Anyway, we got a sword to pick up, and of course we all know from the original that we have to go through a door, face off against a ninja, and then pick up a sword. I was just wondering whether the burger would be there after I died, but apparently it is a burgerless burger stand, which makes it about as useful as an ashtray on a motorcycle. But we head onwards after fooling this locked copper, which is relatively easy to do, just run around in a straight line. I know that sounds a bit bizarre, but that's technically what you do in this game. Anyway, of course, remember the traffic lights. If it's green for them, it's bad to go over. I'm not going to showcase being run over by a motorcycle, because it would have delayed the game more than playing it would, and I felt I was spending enough time with this interesting piece of software. Anyway, it's time to smack about guy with nunchucks, and we are not doing an awful lot of damage with them, but it's supposed to be fast, but yeah. Anyway, in the original you kick the door, but kicking the door does nothing. You just have to go through a solid door, because of course that makes perfect sense. Only a ninja can destroy a ninja. There's supposed to be a ninja in here, it says so in my script, but apparently he retired. he realized he was going to be part of this game, and he said, "Sod it, I'm not staying here." But anyway, we got our sword, which is likely to be some sort of katana-orientated blade, which of course is a powerful stabby weapon if you can actually get it to connect. And though it technically looks like we are hitting about a foot off to the side of the guy, we are actually thunder stabbing him, because you do thunder punches, thunder kicks, and thunder stabs, smacks, whatever. Anything you do to be aggressive towards an enemy sounds like it's about to explode, or it is exploding actually. So, we found a burger stand where there's a blinking burger, and trying to pick it up though, that is a different matter entirely. Yeah, I had to do an editing cut here because I cut out about a minute and a half trying to pick up this stupid bloody burger. I kid you not. I don't know whether they are trying to encourage healthy eating by not being able to, or by not letting the player pick up a burger, but as it is considered extra lives, it's very, very valuable. Time to do some stabby, and of course use the great key and go down into the sewers. The astute listener will notice that the music in this level is actually the load music for the sewers. That is something that will be occurring in a few of the levels where it's the Commodore 64 tape version's load music that plays and not the in-game music, which is a bit of a shame because I always felt that the sewers music, while it is perhaps not super exciting, Commodore 64 version of it, it is very, very atmospheric, and the load tune doesn't have the same impact. It sounds completely wrong when you're playing it with that tune. But anyway, of course, we have to go and get another great key, and this time we have a guy with a sword standing in the way, or staff. He's holding something in his hand. I don't want to know what it is. Anyway, we are smacking him about, and then we are going to pick up yet another key. It looks surprisingly like a normal key, but whatever. Jumping across and let that guy look like an idiot more than he does already. And of course we have this very, very technical jump. And we all know that these spiders are coming down. Very, very scary, very, very harmful. And then we get to the grate that is locked. And we spent about a minute trying to work out where we need to lower the key in order to unlock it, and it was a lot more complicated than it should have been. But of course we are a skilled pajamas guy, so we managed eventually. And then we spent about 30 seconds climbing down some ladders because it is very, very complicated. And this guy is waiting patiently for us to come down, and then he's going to run around in circles. How nice of him, he didn't try to punch us. Of course now we have 3 passageways or pathways, and of course we all know it's the middle one, if you can actually go through it, because you can easily get stuck in that passageway. But onwards to another similar scenario, just trying to remember what I was supposed to be doing. This time it is the back one we need to go through, of course. If you go through the wrong ones, you will take damage. And now we get to the backpack that we have to jump over. And this was actually one of the toughest sections in the entire game, I kid you not. The path looks like it's got a width of a path, but the actual width you can walk on is about as wide as a needle pinhead. It's ridiculous. Anyway, onwards we go. We are trying to get past the... Never mind. Had nothing better to do. It's such a struggle to walk on this pathway. Anyway, I'm going to ignore you, haha. and then another passageway. This time we only have to choose between 2, which is not as complicated as choosing between 3. But we have a guide, we need to do some stabby, and then of course, because we are fanatic anti-drinkers, we will take the booze we nicked from the booze or alcoholic, whatever he was on the street, and light it on fire because we want to burn the alcohol. People shouldn't be drinking. People can drink if they want to, I don't care. As long as they don't drink and drive and drink and be horrible, they can do whatever they want. But anyway, we have someone's pet they flushed out in the toilet, having grown to quite a large size. And yet again, an editing cut because hitting this bloody thing was surprisingly difficult. It wasn't actually a bottle of alcohol, it was a bottle of TNT because the alligator blew up. Onwards to the basement. And yeah. Again, the music from the loading of the level, not the actual in-game music from the Commodore 64 version, which is a bit sad, but you can't have it all. And in the case of this game, you can't have anything at all. Move left first because of course there is a keycard we need, and this guy is actually throwing shurikens from down below, which is always lovely. That's why we're taking damage, by the way. And we, because of course we only have a fraction of the graphics showing, the enemy is moving a lot faster than he used to do, and he finds it very, very easy to obliterate us, and we can't fight back because trying to fight without being able to see the upper half of Pajamas Guy is just impossible. Anyway, we got the card we needed, so onwards to go looking for some cat food. Because of course we have a bit of a kitten we need to feed at one point or another in this level. And we will find the cat food in this room. If again we can get through the doorway, which can be a bit interesting. It's not being guarded, which I find very positive, but it looks like a bathing ring more than a bowl, but you know, it's got stuff I need, so I will take it. And of course we have to get all the way back to the ladders and then down the ladders and then walk back around on the lower level. So far, so good. By the way, I'm not doing any description of the graphics and that stuff because I think it's fairly obvious. The background graphics doesn't look too bad, to be honest. The rest of the graphics a bit bleh, but the controls and the movement is absolutely horrifically bad. Okay, covered now. Good. We need to infuse this kitty food with something that you wouldn't normally feed kittens, and I can't recommend to feed anyone, but it is a part of a game puzzle, so of course we need to do bizarre things in order to solve certain puzzles. And speaking of puzzles, there's a jumping puzzle missing. The astute gamer will probably notice that in the Commodore 64 version is a platform jump in this section that has been removed. And you will actually find in this game that there are a few of those jumping puzzles that's been removed, and my thinking is that the guys making this game realized that their controls are so horrifically crap that in order to spare anyone and everyone the frustration, they decided, you know what, fuck it, we're not going to let them do precision jumps with this control scheme because people are going to scream more than they already do playing this game. Anyway, time to get into the little storage room here, or the storage area. It's just flour, don't worry, there's nothing untowards, it's just flour. But of course we need to coat the cat food in flour because breaded stuff tastes better. You all know that. So we got our cat food and cover it in flour. Let's just call it that. Of course, back we go, because now we need to find the kitty we need to feed. Said cat food, because I mean we wouldn't eat that ourselves, would we? We're not that desperate, even though we're running around in the pajamas and yeah. So we go the other way, and then we have this big kitty who's patiently waiting for us to get close enough to actually put the bowl down instead of trying to eat us instead. And it's very powerful flower because it falls asleep on the spot. Very useful. Of course we need the key card to get into the office building. And we just got a guy with a sword we need to circumvent first. Trying to face him is a bit of a challenge though, and insert keycard, please. Haha, told you. On to the office. Yet again, another piece of music that is from the load of the Commodore 64 version even. In the office we need to get hold of a computer terminal that will show us the passcode needed to unlock the safe, or the safe code of course. And the computer screen is blinking because the computer was running this game and it crashed. So we now got the code we need. And then onwards we move, because of course we need to find a location to use that code, and it's not in the office building because that would be too easy. What we need to do is we need to go into the back room and flick a switch so we open a maintenance shaft. It looks like an ink well, but what do I know? It's a switch. Passage open, and we head outside, inside, somewhere. And this guy would really much like to, this guy would really like to punch us in the back, and we are just running around in circles to confuse him a bit, and then up the ladders. It takes a while. He's not so strong, pajamas guy. If he's been a trained ninja, it might have been better, but we have another enemy waiting for pajamas guy, but he's confused. Can't find us, so time to head outside. In a moment, of course, we need to deal with a complicated puzzle. Stay close to the fan so it doesn't blow you off. The platform then is up. Using it to kick this net in order to get through. I know this, I know, is it a bird, is it a plane? No, it's Superman thing in this version, because I mean that would have been too complicated to put in that Easter egg. Anyway, trying to fight up here is probably going to be rather interesting, so the idea is to avoid fighting. Just push them a bit backwards, eventually you let us go. And then of course we have this ladder, which is very hard to identify as a ladder, but it's a ladder nonetheless. And we will scale the ladder, and of course anyone who's played this game on the far superior version will know that there's a helicopter waiting for us. Let's be generous and call it a helicopter. It is a, yeah, it's a thing. Yeah, anyway, helicopter it is, and we spent about 4.5 minutes trying to actually get ourselves attached to this helicopter, because it seems to be moving. It will stay around forever, but it will just moves around in the same general area. I didn't want to risk jumping off the side and see if I could exit the level like you can on the Commodore 64 version, because I had spent enough time on this game at this point. Now of course we get to the mansion, which actually contains the best music this version has to offer, and it's quite good. But another jump puzzle we don't have to deal with, but just walking off this chimney thing is difficult enough. So just showcasing, and you can't see where you are. You just have to gently nudge your controller joystick thing in order to work out where you are, and then hope that you are actually walking on the ledge that you need to walk on. But anyway, down to the window. And this level is very, very long. It feels to me like the people responsible for it. I actually took a wrong turn, but you know what? It doubles the length of this level. I'm not kidding you, taking this wrong turn. Anyway, the team guys, whatever, making this game, it feels like at this point they just gave up. They just this level can be done in, assuming the game is not tanking like it is, and assuming you can get through doors, which is difficult. And this level will take possibly 20 to 25 seconds, and I'm not kidding you. Go ahead and get the rope, go back into the other room, and use the rope to slide down the kitchen, exit the kitchen, and you are on final level. That's how incredibly simple it is, because someone decided to think, you know what, sod it, we can't be bothered anymore. We know it's bad, everyone else will tell us how bad it is, let's just get it done and dusted. That is what it feels like, and that is what it plays like. So, in the kitchen, of course there's a burger. Everyone eats burgers in this game. I forgot it's not enough to go out the kitchen, we actually have to go into the door, very well hidden by the plants. And poof, here we are, the final level. So while we navigate the final level, I will do some talking about the game, because I think everyone knows the outcome of the game. Not everyone, but most people, anyone who's familiar with the original should know that we need to get the Figni from the safe, and then Amakuni, I was about to say Kunitoki, will appear in the wrong costume, and we knock him down, light some candles, and poof, he's gone. I tried very hard to like this game. It was impossible. You cannot like this game. This video is probably going to look like everything is relatively playable, but I can tell you that I spent over 7 hours playing in order to get this kind of footage. There's editing done in order to make it much more streamlined, because I spent an awful lot of time trying to get through passages, through doorways, and all sorts of other things, and it's actually quite hilarious how much effort it requires. The actual game graphics are not bad. The character graphics are questionable at best, but you know what? The one thing ruining this is the complete and utter garbage animation and controls. The music, it's definitely not the same quality as the Commodore 64 music, but it's not horrible. It's acceptable. It's just wrong. It sounds wrong. It definitely sounds wrong. I mean, as I was saying, Kunitoki, he's supposed to be a ghost, but he looks like someone who just came out of the bath or something. But anyway, editing cut because we spent too long time trying to light some of the candles. Even trying to be as positive as possible, this game is not fun to play. It is not interesting to play. It is not charming to play. It is and I should say absolute mockery of the original it shares its name with. And what pains me is if someone has been familiar with the original and thought, oh, I got an Amiga, of course, I mean it's a 16-bit system, the game must be at least as good as the original, right? And of course they spend their hard-earned cash buying this game, playing this game, throwing it in the bin and finding that the bin throws it back out because it doesn't even want it. For every copy that's been sold of this game, there's been someone who's been angry, frustrated, or crying. I hope the guys that make it or made this game are very, very proud of themselves. An unmitigated disaster that could have been so much better if some more effort and care had been put into it, but too much to ask apparently. On that note, well, thanks for watching, take care, we'll see you next time. Bye bye for now.